Today, we're diving into an absolutely epic story. It's a journey that spans 500 million years, telling us how plants went from, well, basically humble green slime into the massive, complex trees that literally shape our world.
So, when you look at these two, you gotta wonder, right? How on earth do you get from this simple little speck of algae, to that, a massive, towering tree? It seems kind of impossible. Well, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna connect all the dots and show you every single major step along the way.
Okay, so to make sense of this massive journey, we need a roadmap, right? Biologists have broken down the entire plant kingdom into 5 major groups. You can think of them as the big, game-changing chapters in the story of how plants basically took over the planet. So here's the plan. We'll start at the very bottom with algae. Then we'll meet the first pioneers on land, the Bryophytes. From there, we'll see how Pteridophytes figured out how to grow tall. Then comes the real revolution, seeds with the Gymnosperms. And finally, we get to the Angiosperms, the plants we see everywhere today. It's kind of like we're climbing an evolutionary ladder, and each rung is a huge breakthrough. But wait a second. Before we start climbing that ladder, how do we even know it's the right one? I mean, how did scientists figure all this out? Well, the way we classify plants has actually changed a lot over the years. And knowing a little about that history really helps you see how we've put this amazing puzzle together.
You know, way back in the day, scientists like Linnaeus just looked at plants, they grouped them based on what they saw on the outside. We call that an artificial system. A bit later, they started looking inside, at the anatomy, which was a big step forward, the natural system. But today we have something way more powerful, the phylogenetic system. It's not just about what they look like, it's about their family history, their DNA, their actual evolutionary family tree. It's the real deal.
All right, enough history. Let's dive in. Literally, we're starting our journey where it all began, in the water. The first members of the plant kingdom, the algae, are pretty much all aquatic. They're the foundation, the starting block that everything else we're going to talk about is built on. So the big thing to get about algae is just how simple they are. They have what scientists call a thalloid body. Fancy word, but all it means is they don't have the parts you think of when you picture a plant. No real roots, no stems, no leaves. It's just a simple, kind of basic body plan. But don't let that simple look fool you for a second. These tiny little things are absolute powerhouses on a global scale. Get this. Algae are responsible for about half of all the carbon fixation on the entire planet. That means they pull half the CO2 from the air that gets turned into life. Half. That is just staggering. And it's not just about the atmosphere. Algae are the base of pretty much every food chain in the water. Plus, we humans use them for everything. You know that stuff called agar they use in science labs? That's algae. Food thickeners like carrageenan? Algae. We even eat it directly. Think sushi. And there are high-protein types like chlorella that are so good, they've been considered as food for astronauts. Okay, now for the first really giant leap in our story. Plants are about to move out of the water and onto land. And you have to imagine, this was a totally hostile new world. To make it, they needed some serious upgrades. This is where we meet the true pioneers.
And this nickname is just perfect for them. The first plants to make a go of it on land were the Bryophytes. You probably know them as mosses. They're called the amphibians of the plant world. Why? Because just like an amphibian, they can live on land, but they're still totally tied to water. They need it to reproduce. They haven't quite cut the umbilical cord to their aquatic home just yet.
So what's the biggest problem on land? Well, for a plant, it's water. How do you get water from the dirt all the way up to your leaves? The solution was an absolute game changer, vascular tissue. Just think of it like an internal plumbing system for the plant. It's a set of pipes, called xylem and phloem, that can move water and nutrients all around, super efficiently. And this one single invention, it changed everything. See, the bryophytes, the mosses, they don't have this plumbing. That's why they have to stay super short and hug the ground close to moisture. But the next group to evolve, the pteridophytes, we're talking about ferns here. They had vascular tissue, and that let them grow tall. It let them develop real roots to anchor themselves and drink up water. They became way more independent. They were basically the first skyscrapers of the plant world. So, okay, plants can grow tall now. That's a huge deal, but they still had one major weakness. They still needed water for reproduction, so the sperm could literally swim to the egg. The next great leap forward, and I mean this is the one that let them finally conquer the whole globe, was the invention of the seed.
I mean, a seed is just a marvel of engineering, isn't it? It's basically a tiny portable survival kit for a baby plant. You've got the embryo inside, it's got its own little packed lunch, a food supply, and it's all wrapped up in a tough, protective coat. This little package lets the embryo travel for miles and just wait. It can wait for months, even years, for the absolute perfect moment to start growing. Now, the first group to really master this new seed technology was the Gymnosperms. The name is kind of cool. It literally means naked seed. That's because their seeds are just out there, exposed, not tucked away inside a fruit. This group includes some real giants, like pine trees and those massive sequoias. And with the seed, they were finally truly free from needing water to reproduce. They could go anywhere and totally dominate the dry land.
But you know, evolution is never really done. The final and arguably most successful level up came with the Angiosperms. These are the flowering plants. They took the already amazing seed and added two more brilliant features. First, the flower, a flashy advertisement to attract animals to do the pollinating for them. And second, the fruit, a delicious package to protect the seed and basically trick those same animals into carrying it somewhere new.
And just like that, our journey is pretty much complete. Think about it. We've gone from a single, simple cell floating in the ocean all the way to a complex, flowering plant with roots, a plumbing system, and a revolutionary little survival kit called a seed. It's a 500 million year epic, just one innovation after another.
So, this incredible story of evolution leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? The flower was such a clever trick, right? Plants evolved this way to use animals to help them out. Now, in a world that's being changed so fast by just one of those animals, that's us, you have to wonder, what's going to be the next great plant innovation?